Hi, this is another episode of Naturang Batas, Likas at Tama. I'm your host, Jemy Gatdula. And today's episode is about the youth. What exactly do we mean when we say the word youth? And why is it that advertisers and politicians seem to be so much enamored with this certain segment of our society? Do we actually even care what they think about? These and other questions we will discuss in today's episode, and I hope you can join us then. Our guest for this episode is actually quite interesting and quite exceptional in their own ways. As a teacher, I've had the good fortune of being able to encounter them in several of the classes that we've had at the University of Asian Pacific. Unfortunately, those group of people can't be here with us today. Instead, I am stuck with these guys who I was able to pull out of the traffic. Yes, I don't think I've submitted yet their class grades, so yeah. You're all at my mercy. In any event, I think I'll leave it to a very important person in the show for us, who's always working with us in the background, and David Rosario. Could you please introduce your friends who are with us today?
Well, first of all, thanks again for having me. I'm David Rosario, a writer by trade, but also political economist. Beside me is Glo Anne. She's also from the Institute of Political Economy, and she's a runner. We also have Jemy Pimentel.
Runner
Institute.
from where? Running from? No, runner.
Just
okay.
run, you know.
Okay.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we also have here Jemy Pimentel. He's also from the Institute of Political Economy, and he's a dancer as well.
Wow.
And at the back over there, we have Justin, also from the Institute of Political Economy.
Surprisingly, you know.
All are. Well, what's interesting about Justin is he's into constitutional provisions, which is really interesting, actually.
You'll be going to law, hopefully soon, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have Jemima. Well, she plays table tennis, which is a really good sport.
Is it a sport?
It is.
Yeah. Even then. Yes.
That's for another episode. We also have Mon. He's a student leader. And beside him is Luke.
Well, not anymore, because he's not going to be a student for much longer, right? No, you're going to enter law school then, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And well, beside
Perhaps.
him is Luke Magsila. He's also from political economy and also a student leader. He was the head of Polis, our organization, last year actually.
He's a dancer.
Well, and a dancer as well.
Yeah. I love dancing, everything.
Okay. So, well, that's it. Well, thank you for joining us in this episode. The honor is ours. The first question I think would go to JV by arrangement.
Okay.
Your classmates pushed you into this one.
Yes,
So, what are you guys doing? What are you guys up to nowadays?
Well, I've been practically dancing for my entire lifetime. But as of now, I'm postponing that, and I'm taking graduate studies in international relations and development, still in the University of Asia Pacific, along with them. And currently, I'm doing a research on agrarian reform.
And I think, if I'm correct, you're also doing research on the Japan-Philippines.
Yes, certainly on the
Okay.
Japan, PJAPA, in short.
With who's your partner in this one?
My partner is also my colleague, Miss Eladin.
Hi.
Ella.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing it for a couple of months now, and hopefully we'll be done by the end of the year.
What about you, Jemima? What are you up to?
I'm into sports, so I want to explore new things. Like for example, wakeboarding. I think naging trend siya, I think last year. So for me, I want to try that. So I'm into trying new things.
Why? Why do you want to try? What's up with what skateboard?
Surfing.
Why?
I'm
What's
not
up
a
with
pro.
That?
I just want to try.
But why? Why do
things.
you want to try it?
Well, maybe I'm just maximizing my youth, being a youth, because probably when I get old, I won't be able to do this stuff.
Look, David said you're a student leader. So, as a student leader, what is it that you advocate for?
Well, basically, sir, number one would be values within the leader. I've always been, I always believed in the 3C, the charisma, the character of the person, and the capacity of the person to lead. And those 3 C's have always been the guiding principles that I had in me. So it's not only enough for you to be a leader, to be good at it, but you should also have those values, the virtues that you should have those virtues to be a leader.
What virtues would those be?
Well, basically, sir, number one would be charity, and another value would be, or virtue would be, your loyalty to your constituents.
You know, one of the questions that we started out when we opened up the show is to ask what is meant by youth. And obviously you are pretty much young guys, girls, and whatever. And but what exactly is meant by youth? I mean, who do you consider to be part of your group? I mean, obviously I probably would have to disqualify myself already from that grouping, but what is it actually is meant by youth?
If you want to be technical about it, you can always cite a lot of documents, like there are institutional references such as the World Bank. But for me, at least personally,
what if you're not technical about it? What
exactly.
is meant by
That's why I'm going there.
Okay.
Personally, it goes beyond just the age limit and age cohort. It's basically an attitude, a mentality, a disposition.
But by that statement, then somebody who's probably in his late 30s could probably still be part of
even
it.
the 40s, it could be he or she could still be considered young at heart. You know what they say, it's life starts at 40. So things like that still applies to anyone who wants to be called youth.
But realistically, you would not, as a group, go out with somebody in his 40s, right? I mean, so there would be a certain level, there would be a certain cutoff. I would think certain people from a younger age would not be part of your group, and a certain persons of an older age would automatically already be cut off. So what is exactly meant by when you say the word youth? When you say, like, for example, we're being youthful, this is the young, we should be heard. What exactly are you really thinking of here? What is it that you're, or am I asking something nebulous, like what is meant by cool? What is meant by, but is there really a definition of what youth is by your understanding?
A specific definition or a specific age bracket, or
no, not necessarily something technical, but is there a certain characteristic or feel or attitude, as JV was saying?
I think just to build on what JV said, you could actually look at the youth as sort of a midpoint in a person's life, wherein when you're youthful, you're somehow exposed to certain experiences, but at the same time you're not totally embedded at it. So you still retain that certain level of idealism, certain level of good expectations, but of course you're also sort of exposed to reality. So it's sort of that. You're at the midpoint of being.
That's interesting. Meaning the transition from certain stage.
Transitioning from being just a child to being a complete adult. I think youth is someone who's at the middle of that, in that transition.
Now, one thing I've always been interested about is there are several groupings of youth before, and perhaps this is something we could talk more about after the break. But definitely you've had the baby boomers. Obviously, at one point in their lives, they were young. Then you have the Gen Xers, which is me. And then I think the Gen Ys, the Gen Zs, and what have you. How different are these youth, from the youth that essentially that you are? I mean, obviously you haven't seen them, but from what you've seen, for example, in the old teenage movies of the 50s, 60s, and 80s, from what you've heard or what you've read about, how different do you think these people are when they were young from the youth of today? And perhaps it's something we'll discuss after the break.